morning, tribe. Thank you so much for supporting me by clicking on this video. This is my first, so let me know how the practice goes down for you and whether you leave feeling energized and centered and grounded and all the good stuff. I'm house sitting a beautiful place on Phillip Island in Victoria with my friend Veda, so I felt inspired to take use of this beautiful space and create this practice for you. Whether you're new to yoga and you've never even stepped foot in a class, or you're a seasoned yogi with a devoted practice, I hope you find a little bit of magic out of this video to help you move through your day with a bit more ease. But enough of me talking anyway, let's get to it. Welcome to your Yoga for a Magical Morning, your energized practice. Take 2, your energized practice. I'll see you on the other side. Let's begin at the top of your mat. Just folding the toes under, getting all those juicy acupressure points, keeping the knees together. Lengthen up through the spine, lift the crown of your head and just close down your eyes just for a moment. Start to bring some movement in by maybe rolling the shoulders. Start to deepen the breath and unclench through the jaw. Just release any tension you might be holding in the face and the shoulders. Let's start to settle in to our body and just take check of how you're feeling this morning. You might begin to notice that the feet will become a little bit sore. We won't be here too long. Take a deep inhalation, swing the arms up, overhead. Palms come together and rest at the third eye, closing down the eyes. And then taking the palms to heart center as we open the practice. Stepping the feet back, just giving the toes a little tap, tap, tap to release. And then just shifting the knees underneath the hips and wrists under shoulders. Bringing some attention to the navel now, dropping the belly. We'll take a few rounds of Bidalasana, our cat-cow, just to bring some movement into the spine. So as you take a deep inhalation, shine the heart forward. Keep the little bit of a bend in the elbows. And as you exhale, round through the spine, press the hands away from the floor as you separate through the shoulders. Just take this with your own pace. We'll do 3 more rounds. Dropping the head completely on your exhalation, rounding through the tailbone. And as you inhale, deep breath in, draw the heart forward. Now bring a little fluidity and freedom here. So you might like to roll through the head and create some C shapes from bending the shoulders toward the hips, side to side. This is your practice, your awakening. So release any of that stagnant, sleepy energy now. Sinking the hips back to the heels. And we're just taking a few hip circles. So 3 on one side, 3 on the other. However feels good to move, do that. Pulsating in any areas that you notice. Maybe a bit of tension that you've been holding on through the night. Breathing into any of those stuck places in the hips. A place in the body that we store a lot of tension. So just give yourself time here to wake up. And then dropping the hips back to heels, release the forehead to the mat and take the palms at the nape of the neck in prayer position, Anjali Mudra, for your Balasana, child's pose. Just taking a breather here, contrasting that movement with some stillness. And then just resting the palms to the top of the mat, pressing into the fingertips. And let's return to an all fours position, just hovering the knees up off the mat. So lifting the shins, keeping the tail tucked and just switching the belly on, drawing the navel to your spine. Bring some attention to your core here as we start to warm up. And then lifting the hips up on an inhalation, send them high, keep the toes lifted. Exhale, bring the knees toward the mat to hover. Inhale, lift, and exhale, sink back down. So just shifting between a hover in all fours to your downward facing dog on your toes. Let's do this one more time. Hover, keep the belly switched on. And then dropping the knees, returning to all fours. Let's set up for downward facing dog. Just walking the pinky tips of the fingers outwards to the sides of the mat. Sending the hips up nice and high, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. You might like to come to stillness here and drop the heels toward the floor, lengthening out through the hamstrings and the calves. Bring a little movement by shimmying the hips from side to side. Inhale as you look forward, step to the top of the mat, halfway lift by moving the hands up along the legs. And then together we rise, bringing the head all the way up. Palms meet and come back to heart center. Inhale, relax your shoulders. Take a moment here in Tadasana, your mountain pose, grounding through all four corners of the feet. Inhale, let's rise, palms come overhead, take the gaze with it, and then sit down for your imaginary chair, Utkatasana. Keep your attention on your belly here, locking on through the core, keep your tail tucked, sink a little deeper. Holding on, keeping the breath moving in and out through the nose, you got this. Bring the palms together, down through heart center to the chest. And exhale, take your forward fold, stepping back with the left leg, drop your knee. Let's rise up for a low lunge. And then walking the right foot outside of your mat, coming into lizard pose. So just taking a few deep breaths here into the hips. You might feel a little bit tight. Inhale, taking the palm of the right hand onto your leg and just create a little space by pressing the palm down into the leg. If you're feeling nice and open, you might like to drop down onto the left elbow and then take the right arm all the way behind you to pick up the left foot. If you can grab onto the toes or wrap the hand around the foot, just draw the leg in to feel that stretch, that opening through the hamstring and the quad. And all you have to do here is breathe. Just gently releasing the leg now, coming back up to lizard, transition to Kumbhakasana plank pose by hovering the right foot all the way back, coming to a halfway plank, bending through the elbows and then pressing up, rolling through your vinyasa, take the belly to the floor, lift the chest, Bhujangasana, your cobra pose, and then exhale, send the hips nice and high all the way up for downward facing dog. Relax and release your head here, and breathe, return to your center. Step the left foot to the top of the mat now, taking the stance nice and wide. The foot comes to the outside of the hand. Drop your right knee. Creating space on the other side, this time just pressing the left knee away from the body. Notice the space opening up between the hip and the top of the leg. If you did so on the other side, dropping down onto your right elbow, and take the gaze up with the hand as you lift toward the ceiling for a twist and try to find the back foot once again, just bringing it in toward the body. This can be quite intense for the morning, but a really nice opener to just bring some energy and some warmth to our legs to get ready for the day. Releasing the back foot, pressing into the hands. Let's change to plank on the other side, strong through the core, bending down halfway, pressing up, back to plank, and then taking the belly all the way to the floor for cobra, or maybe pressing to upward facing dog, lifting the hips and the thighs. Just taking a gaze over your right and left shoulder, and then exhale, pressing the floor away from you, downward facing dog. Look forward, jump to the top of the mat, and let's rise together. Palms come to heart center. Taking the feet nice and wide now, we'll move into our sun squats. So as you inhale, lengthen out, exhale, squat. Inhale, nice and long. So just moving with your own breath here, creating some heat, generating some warmth in the body. Start to waken up. And if you're feeling a little bit more energetic, just shifting into a few light jump squats here. We'll take 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, gather up all your energy, bring it back to your heart. And then resting here in Tadasana, just noticing how that explosive movement resonates with you this morning. Jumping the feet back to center. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, fold. Uttanasana, your forward fold. Just dropping your head and maybe taking each palm with each elbow. Give the head a little wiggle from side to side just to notice that you're not holding any tension here or looking forward. Keeping the knees as bent as you need to release through your lower back. If you need a little bit more, you can scoot the hands underneath the feet and step the toes onto the fingers, once again activating the acupressure points. Inhale as you lengthen the spine to create some length, and then exhale, draw the elbows out to the side and drop your head, or transition into a squat while still standing on your hands. Take your option, no need to push anything today. Listen to your body. Slowly lifting the hips, transitioning out of your fold now, and then stepping your left foot back for our crescent lunge. Keep the heel lifted, sinking down deep, making sure that your front knee is not coming over the front ankle. Lifting the hands, active fingers here, wrap your shoulders, and then drop the right hand behind you, opening up to a twist. Lifting the left hand, creating some space through the side body. And making that connection with the palm on your back leg. Inhale as we transition to warrior two. So unfold as we face the other side. The heels rest on one straight line. Finding your center, roll the shoulders. And notice the fierceness of your warrior two, Virabhadrasana. Let's take some pulses. Inhale, lifting out of your lunge. Exhale, sink. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, dropping into your lunge. Let's do this 3 more times. Moving with your own breath. Wrap your back hand around you and then lift the top arm up, crescent lunge. And exhale, returning to warrior two, cartwheeling the arms back to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift your back foot. Let's transition to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. If you're struggling with your balance, just finding a spot on the floor to take your gaze. Active fingers, open the chest. Feel the expanse through your heart center. Exhale, release, halfway lift and fold. Inhale, rise up, Tadasana. Let's take that to the other side. Take a baby back bend on your inhalation. Exhale, fold, drop your head. This time taking the right foot back, sinking into your left lunge. Inhale, lifting the body up, sinking deep into your legs. A really strong foundation here. Taking the left arm behind you, finding the leg. Inhale, lift the right fingertips to create that stretch through the side body, the place that we usually keep hidden away. Unfurling the arms, switch to your warrior two, facing the other side now. Sink deeply into that front leg lunge. Inhale for pulses, coming up out of your lunge. Exhale, sink down. Moving with your own breath here, creating that connection between movement and breath. Last one. Wrapping the right arm behind you now. Inhale, lift the left fingertips. Crescent lunge, maybe taking the gaze toward the fingertips. And then exhale, windmilling the hands all the way to the top of the mat. Lift off with your back toes, finding half moon on the other side. Stretching out like a star, expansive, glowing. If you'd like a challenge, maybe try and find the toes behind the body if you're feeling nice and stable this morning. Exhale, halfway lift, and then dropping the forehead, return to forward fold. And just coming to sit down into a squat now. So you might like to keep the heels lifted here if you're still feeling a little tight in the hips. Just taking the feet nice and wide and then separating the knees apart using the elbows as leverage here. a great pose to kickstart your digestion in the morning. Rolling back to come to seated on your mat, toes pointed out nice and long. Inhale as you lift the hips up nice and high for an extended tabletop and drop your head. Exhale, release. Then lifting the toes, we're coming to prepare for boat pose, just for a little bit of core work, because we all love it. So draw the navel into the spine. You might like to keep the fingertips on the floor to hold you steady. Otherwise, come here with me and lift up the fingertips and send the toes up nice and high. Drawing your attention to the core constantly, and then exhaling as you slowly drop into a dish. We just transition here doing 10 toe taps, so bring some fire to the belly. If you notice any lower back pain here, then tuck the tailbone, suck the navel toward your spine. There should be no space under your lower back to the mat here. Last one, exhale, release. Taking the soles of the feet together, let the knees roll out to the side. For Supta Baddha Konasana, you might like to create some space once again here in the hips, or bring some cactus arms to the table by just dropping the elbows out to the side, palms facing up. Maybe closing down the eyes, take the gaze inward. Just let yourself melt into the floor. And then taking the knees up to chest, let's take 3 big rolls along the spine, releasing through the lower back and transitioning back through your vinyasa, coming to all fours, stepping back to plank. Exhale down to the floor, inhale upward facing dog, then downward facing dog. Coming down onto the elbows, we'll take the next minute or two just to practice our inversions. So you might like to just practice your dolphin pose here, which is just a downward facing dog on your elbows. You can either have the palms facing down on the floor or creating a little interlocked fingers here to support yourself. Otherwise, coming into your headstand practice, so dropping the head to the floor, but pressing into the elbows, so creating space between the ear and the shoulders. We're carrying most of the weight in the elbows and the upper body. The head is just there to stabilize. So whichever inversion you choose to practice, we're getting all of the benefits here by switching up our blood flow and bringing some to the brain to energize and awaken, as well as literally switching our perspective. So take notice of how this particular pose resonates with you today, taking care with whatever your body is telling you. Just coming out of your inversion practice, maybe opening the chest, taking a few head rolls. Whatever feels good here. And then transition to come to seated. Lay the legs out nice and long. Inhale, stretch, and exhale, fold, letting the hands rest wherever they fall. Paschimottanasana, our seated forward fold. A perfect pose to take the gaze inward once again, closing down the eyes. Breathing into the lower back. Just enjoy this stillness. There's nowhere else you need to be and nothing else you need to do. Just listening to your body here as you transition to rest on your back, moving gently and without hurry. Taking happy baby to polish off our practice, so pressing down on the heels a little bit with the hands, maybe stretching one leg and then the other, or dropping both knees to either side of the body to open up through the hips. Rolling from side to release and massage through the lower back. And then take this moment of freedom to listen to your body. What else does it need to do before you can allow it to let go and relax? So maybe this is just as simple as a few ankle and wrist rolls. Or maybe there's a pose that you might feel the need to do. When you're ready, laying the legs nice and long, let the heels come heavy, the toes splay out to the side. Taking the palms to face up, ready to receive any wisdom and guidance from your body today. Let go of any control that you have over the breath as we melt into surrender for our final posture, Shavasana. Just stay with your breath here or allow yourself to drift off. I'll be waiting for you and let you know when it's time to come out. Just bringing some gentle awareness back to the body now. Noticing any energy pulsating through your fingertips. And noticing the weight of your body heavy on the floor, held and supported. Just slowly moving into the fetal position by bringing the knees up to your chest, rolling over onto one side, and then returning to an upright seated position. Getting nice and comfortable here, lengthen the crown of the head, feeling grounded and rooted through our sit bones. Inhale as you take one big breath, gather up all the energy that you've cultivated. Bring it into your heart's center and bow the forehead to your fingertips. Closing our practice with acknowledging our beautiful bodies and all of the things that it allows us to do. Thank you so much for showing up to the mat today. Namaste. There we have it, guys. Your magical morning is well on its way now that you've practiced with me. Thank you so much for sticking to the end and carving out some time to devote to your well-being. Showing up to the mat isn't always an easy thing to do, or even showing up for ourselves. So that's a big tick of today's list. Please do let me know if there's anything else that you'd like me to go more in depth about, whether that be poses, different sequences, different practices for different purposes. I have this space and I would love to make use of it for you guys as I'm missing teaching while I'm on the road. Really, again? So until next time, dudes, take it easy.